Welcome to all the classic car enthusiasts. I'm going to put a little bit up there on the replacing the floors in the Mini. Now, I've never replaced a whole floor, including the heel board and the tunnel, but I've replaced quite a few floors, and obviously there's a lot more work involved in doing a whole structure because it's all got to be set up right. But there's a couple of things I've put in that might help. As I say, I've not done a complete floor on my own. But done just about everything else, but in sections. So I'm going to put this little video up. I was meant to put it up last night, but it was a bit too long. Biggest problem for me is if I do, the reason I'm making 10 to 14 minutes is it takes forever in the country where we live. It's in the countryside, and the internet speed is absolutely atrocious. For a 10, 15, 14 minute video, it takes around about an hour and 40 minutes to download. I know it's crazy. When we were in Dubrovnik, in the hotel in Dubrovnik, I did a 10 minute video, and I think it took 3 minutes. I don't know what everybody else gets, but and we've got all the right modems and everything, but the infrastructure is rubbish. But there you go, you can't have everything. You can't have a piece for the countryside and have the high tech as well, it seems. Anyway, so tonight I'm going to drive up to Vienna with a trailer. This chap that's bought my Land Rover, so I'll do a little bit of video when we load it and it goes off. Then tonight we're off to see Jeff Lynne's ELO, which I've been a fan of since the 70s. I remember when he started up with Roy Wood. So I'm really looking forward to that. Hopefully the sound will be tops and what have you. So yeah, so as I say, it's 8 minutes on the Mini. Hopefully it'll be some help to somebody. But like I say, in all these videos, I'm no expert in classic cars or Minis or whatever. I try and do the job as well as I can, professionally as I can, if you want to call it professional, but it's a hobby to me. But more importantly, I think a lot of this is if you just look at it with some common sense and what's doable, what's not, and go with that basically. That's all you can do. We're all learning from each other. There's people that have different ways of doing different things, and that's fine. I think as long as you end up achieving the same goal, what does it matter how you get there? And same with the level. If you want to restore something to perfect pristine condition to show the car, or you want to make it beautiful to drive, or whatever, you know, this is all different levels, and everybody's entitled to what they want, whether they pay for it or they get somebody to do it or they do it themselves, whatever. It's all saving cars, so that's the main thing. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the video, and I'll catch you in a couple of days. Amir's on his way back, so I'll catch you in a couple of days. Bye. Yeah, for some reason I get emails from people thinking I look a little bit like Ray Winstone, the actor. Funny enough, we're from the same kind of area in London. I guess if I pull my hair back, I don't know, take the glasses off, grease back my hair, bit baggy. I'm a couple of years older than him, so I don't know. People have mentioned it before. Strange world. So to carry on, you can see there where I've basically just cut a hole. You can see it's quite a tolerance on it. It doesn't need to be that tight. And then I've just bent that piece up. I'll come out of the light so you can see it better. You can see there, it's just lifted up. All I've got to do is put it back down, put a bit of copper behind it, and we can weld it back in. We want to use the jig obviously to paint the car, so you can say, well, you know, you're going to have to weld this afterwards. What we will do is paint the whole bottom first in the engine bay, and then the car will sit on that mini trailer I use with my tractor to finish it off. And it's easier to get it in and out of the bay because it's across the road from where we're going to be working. So to finish off, before I start this welding, I'll show you it all when it's finished, but I won't bore you with the welding of it. There's no point. If you're thinking about doing a whole floor, which is not a bad idea, because a lot of these floors get badly damaged when they're lifted. Instead of being lifted on the subframes, the front and the rear subframe, you know, they're lifted on the floors and they get dented and damaged and they hit bumps and all kinds of stuff. So if you're doing a whole floor, this is again particularly for Randy, normally what happens is the heel board suffers very badly on the Minis, because obviously this is a massive splash area here. Sorry, I'll let the camera focus. This is a massive splash area here. So the inner arches, this and the rear, and the rear here, valance is a particularly bad area for Minis. The rear subframes are just an absolute rust trap. They're the designs actually hold water, to be honest, in some places. Especially with the gussets in them, mud and crap go inside and they get damaged quite quickly. So if you're replacing a whole floor, my suggestion would be, it would be very expensive sending it all the way to America, but you can buy it with the inner and outer sills already in place, already pre-spot welded, and with the heel board in place, everything. All you do is just re-weld it up to this toe board here. So you'll get the tunnel, you'll get this box section, you'll get the inner and the outers already pre-done to it. And it's really a way to go. So now this is where this bar now would come in extremely handy, because I could make an attachment to go on there and pick up onto these holes for the box section, or these holes here where the front of the handbrake goes, and there's all sorts of areas where you could pick it up from. Even these drain holes you could use if you wanted to, although I don't know how substantial they would be, these ones here. But it's a way of doing it, and you could pick up the whole thing in one shot basically, and make sure it's centered correctly. So the other thing you could do is what I've done on my previous jig that Alex now has, is I use these companion bins. Sometimes these need to be repaired anyway, especially around the bottom. I've used these companion bins and used these these holes here, or there's actually a nut inside, which is the seatbelt mounting, and I've made a frame which goes basically up here and then across straight. So you should definitely brace it across the car. That's one of the most important areas to do, is brace right across, and that would depend on whether you're taking the bins out or not. And then you can even come up at an angle, so you've got a triangle, which is what Alex has. If you go and look at Alex DJSE, you'll see the jig. You'll see when we all met up, I think there's the Magnificent Seven, all of us met up and we put it in for him. I think Alex Toom was the only one who wasn't there, or was he? I can't remember at that point. Anyway, you'll see us putting it in, and you'll see this triangular bar which fits across like that, and it works really well. And there's many places where you can pick it up from, but side to side is extremely important, and obviously front to rear, depending on whether you've got these out or not. If you've got these steps in, if you've got new steps in, or you've done the steps, then you shouldn't need too much bracing front to rear, because they're very strong, and because of the angles on them, they're strong. But if you haven't got them in, you would definitely need to have braces front and back. But I'm a big a fan of making them boltable, because one, you can pass them on to somebody else, you can reuse them again, you know, and you weld pieces in and you can't get to them properly, and then you have to cut them out, and it's a real pain. So it does take longer, but you know, like in Randy's case, for instance, with 3 minutes at some point he's going to do them all. Why not make it all usable? So over a period of years, you know. Anyway, so that's it for today. I'm going to, you can see it's all bolted in, all tightened up. And you can see even there, I've not even got the lock on there. There's the lock, but I you know, it works so well. So what I'll do is I've only welded them here. So what I'll do is I'll take it over and I'll weld each side underneath there. Weld these in correct, all of it I'll get done, and then maybe I'll get some primer on it. It might be worth doing it before I actually put it back in, or at least over the welds, because they will corrode quite quickly, they'll rust quite quickly. Anyway, so there we go, that's it. And for part 4, I will show you, I won't make any more parts for it because it's gone on a bit too long, but I will show you a bit of it while we're doing other jobs, because one of the next big jobs here is to rip these wheel arches out. Not rip, but to cut, because these are too small. For 10-inch wheels they're okay, but for 12, 13-inch wheels they get caught on them. The rears are fine, but the fronts have to be redone. So what happens is there's a special template you can download from Mini Spares, and it shows how much needs to be cut out. And I have the Heritage arch strengtheners to go in here, so I use that as the guide, because what will happen is this piece here is far too far in for the wheel. Not so much on the back, but certainly on the front here, there's at least a good inch needs to come off these all the way up, and then we'll fit that in and carry on with the lead loading. And for the people that have asked, yes, we will show us doing the lead loading and how we get these joints like that. That's not by filing, that's by heating the lead up once it's all in, and then using your finger and a material to push it down in. But you've got to, it's very, you know, it's a bit tricky. You have to, it's a bit of a call when you do it. But we'll show you all the lead loading, how we do it, how we do these fronts. And you don't need a jig to do this. There's no advantage in turning this on its side, possibly there when it's side on, but certainly not on the front. You know, there's no real advantage. So, and we'll get everything done. So, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the videos. Hope it's of some help to you. And as I say, these are just my thoughts on it. I mean, you know, there's plenty of people out there that are pros doing minis, and I'm sure they've got far better jigs. But I wanted to make this so that you, the guys that have this one from Rollover Jig, which I think for the price they're asking is a pretty good deal. And I have noticed that they've now made a strengthening bar for it, and some other pieces. They've made braces for inside and all kinds of stuff. So they've obviously had some issues with this being held on the front and the back. For little patches and little bits and pieces, it's fine, but for major restoration or major, for doing the floors, you could not do without it. You would bend the shell. Anyway, take care, stay safe, enjoy your hobby. Bye.